Hello, hello, and welcome to my Sunday thought. I finally did it right. It's on Sunday, and it's a nice brisk winter Sunday. But what I'm going to talk to you about is today is that I hear that neckties are coming back, and it seems to me that when it comes to apparel, both men and women just shoot themselves in the foot because the only thing I can think of that's more uncomfortable than a tie is a brassiere. But you men are wearing them, and it evidently is a sign of being proper, being businesslike, and being serious. Being serious. I'm told that if your necktie is too tight, it can cause a stroke, and it can cause high blood pressure. Um, but they say that if it's really tight and you untie it, if you untie it, that brief moment when you let the oxygen back in, you get a real rush. But why men wear ties, I will never know. But when I was married, that was in the 50s, probably when dinosaurs were wandering the earth. The style was a very narrow tie, it was a rep tie. And I remember I always used to, that would be the present that you bought for your husband. He always bought you flowers or candy or jewelry. That's how it was done in the 50s. But um, I could never understand why any man would want to put something around his neck and tie um, and tie it so that he was choking himself. When we wore them, they wore them with starched collars. So that meant that most of the men had little rashes on their neck. Well, the one thing that was good about wearing a tie was when you would adjust your husband's tie or your boyfriend's tie, and that was to me the sexiest moment of my life. That was the most exciting thing. I thought that was just so sexy. It was a lot sexier than caressing his dick, fixing his tie because I was little and I would fix his tie, and that was really very, very exciting. But now they are coming back again, and I cannot imagine why or what for, because it seems to me that we have now graduated, especially with the lockdown, to um, more comfortable clothing. And it is true that from time immemorial, the minute a man came in the house, he unloosened his collar and took off his tie. And the woman, I am told, took off her brassiere. I never did that. As you know, I was anorexic for 40 years. So for many years, as soon as I went below 80 pounds, I stopped wearing a brassiere. I never wore a brassiere, and it was lovely. I didn't have that binding underneath. I didn't have that. The, the, the worst part of a brassiere is when you have to take it off and your hands are cold, and it's terrible. And I didn't have to wear a brassiere because I weighed under 80 pounds and I was pretty flat chested to begin with. But then, when I moved to California, I had gotten, for me, very fat. I weighed over 90 pounds, and I took tap dancing. And that was when I realized the value of brassieres are that they keep everything still and it doesn't flap around with you. Because in my case, I never did keep very good time, and with my breasts flapping off rhythm as well, it was really a nightmare. So I began wearing bras. And when I went to Edinburgh, I broke my what was it, my wrist. That was what it was. I broke my wrist, and I still did my shows. I don't miss shows, and I still did my shows. But when I went home, there was nobody at the flat where I was staying, and I had to get someone to come home with me to take the bra off. So I got one of the young men that were, college students that were helping out at C venues. And he walked me home because I couldn't unlock the door. I had broken my wrist. I couldn't unlock the door. It was my right wrist. And I couldn't get my clothes off. So I had him unhook my bra, and it was maybe 18. He was so embarrassed. And I said to him, well, it's never too early to learn a good technique. That's a good technique to learn. And then uh, later in California, I remember I went to a concert in Hillsborough, and anybody that knows anything about Hillsborough knows it's an immensely wealthy place where a man named Dr. Hanfley had concerts in his home. And at that concert, there was a woman, and I believe her name was Catherine, who was a pianist. And after her concert, she ripped off her bra, and and so did everyone except me, and we had um, event. We threw them in the fireplace. But now it's lockdown, and now uh, nobody is wearing these immense physical traps that keep us in prison. And I often wonder with articles of clothing why we create uh, bras, why we create these prisons that make us so uncomfortable. Bras were invented, believe it or not, because they had extra steel left over from making ammunition. They didn't know what to do with it. It was during First World War, and they created brassieres. And then, as it said in this article that I wrote, when they realized that they weren't really very good for your health, then they started making it something that was good for your appearance. But now, as I say, we're in lockdown and we can relax and we don't have to wear a bra. And of course, I am, you don't have to wear a tie. You don't have to wear a tie. Um, men, of course, have always had it easier than women for dress because we also wore high heels. I wore 3-inch high heels, and I believe that I have permanent scoliosis because of that. But I did it because it made my ankles look nice, and it was worth it to do that. But people ask me all the time. They say, "Well, why do you still wear a bra?" And I said, "Well, I wear it now to keep them from hanging up the bottom of my blouse." Putting on a bra at my age is like a poker game. You have to know how to hold them. Have to know how to fold them. I just roll mine up and use the clamp. But but now with lockdown, I'm free. I can let them drag to my knees. And men, you don't even have to wear a shirt, and we're free. So I think that there are benefits of lockdown that we never even thought of because we thought the lockdown was just imprisoning us. But what it is it's freeing us from constrictive clothing. And I want to thank you very, very much for joining me for my Sunday thought.